Hello, Miko. How was your day? Honestly, though, that's probably a perfect example of how life with Miko has gone so far. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my Miko 3 review. So I was originally supposed to post this last week, but our schedules had changed. We actually didn't get to open Miko until about the 21st. And so I really wanted like some solid days with Miko without having to run around with the hustle and bustle of the holidays and all of that jazz. So I have lots of thoughts on this fella. So I broke it into 3 different pieces. Misleading, which unfortunately is true right now. Issues or cons, issues/cons, and things I think that Miko really does well / pros. So we're gonna just go ahead and get the bad out of the way, right? Because that's kind of like, I wish there was more information out there, I guess. So let's go ahead and get the misleading things just right out the door, right? So there is several Miko 3 commercials. And this is one of the issues with Miko. But there is several Miko 3 commercials where you're watching the robot chase after the kids and play hide and seek and like learn your kids' moods and all of that, and that is just not implemented yet. I've actually reached out to the company and I'm like, hey, like some of the things you guys are advertising in these commercials is really misleading, like hide and seek. And they responded back and said that some of these features they are planning on patching through and coming out with in the next couple months. Hide and seek is one of those. They promised before Christmas. I just looked on his interface and he does not have it yet. So I think it's just one of those things where they basically, like, here's our product, it's not finished. So I feel like we have an early access robot right now. So that is one of my main things, is that if you are seriously thinking about getting the Miko 3, I'd almost wait a couple months to see if some of those features do come out that they promised. Because I do have a lot of pros for this. It's not all just issues. My biggest issue was the misleading things, and that is one of the misleading things, is that some of the things in the commercials aren't exactly... Like, obviously, they are commercial magic, right? They make it look like this is an autonomous robot that follows your kids around and plays games with them, and you guys basically have a pet robot. And that's not how it is, which is kind of what I assumed it was going to be, but you never know until you get it out of the box and start playing with it, because it hadn't came out yet. It had just released when I bought it. Another misleading thing is that this device here is mostly just the tablet. And I kind of figured that after playing with it after my unboxing, but it became more like apparent after we started playing with it with my kid. So that is just the misleading things, okay? My issues or the cons, I guess I should say. The cons with the robot. So far, they did have, and it is an issue, they've had a service outage. It happened right at Christmas when all the robots went live. They had crashes. We couldn't play with Miko, which was fine because we had other festivity things going on at the time. So I think that was probably like a one-time or maybe very seldom thing that's happening. Miko, I'm not talking to you right now. That is one of the other issues with Miko. Like, last night was very, very, like, he just kept listening to the conversations and then trying to talk. And, he did this like 5 times in a row while we were just watching a movie. No one said his name, nothing like that. It just would randomly happen. I've learned that when the robot is not played with, he becomes bored and he will try to insert himself into the conversation, which is fine. Now that I know that's what it was. But before it was a little weird. Another thing is, and honestly, when I first got Miko out of the box, and we were playing with him, I thought he was strictly on the tablet. So I was very disappointed. Until one afternoon, and I'm pretty sure this was after a patch he had. He recognized my daughter and followed her into the kitchen. I thought that was really cool. It's not like him chasing the kids, it doesn't happen all the time. He just randomly did it, and he hasn't done it since. So I don't know if that was a normal thing, if he malfunctioned, if this is like when robots take over the world and we're just happen to have a pet one. I don't know, but that did happen. So that's another thing. We actually couldn't say hello, Miko. How are you today?
Hi, I'm better now that you're here.
Aw.
What's been the best part of your day so far?
I ate breakfast with the family. And that's another thing that happens frequently with Miko, where he'll say, cannot load a tidbit, and then he says, cannot connect to the internet. And I have Google Fiber, and I have 1 gig up and 1 gig down, and my phone is currently connected to it. I don't know why Miko is having an issue connecting to my internet, but that is one of my issues with the robot. But my previous point is I can't say the hello Miko, or I couldn't in the very beginning. That was something that just recently you can restart the robot, which is what I was gonna say, and so I restarted him, and that's when that feature started working. So if you have your own robot and some of these features aren't working, try restarting, because it could have been a patch and they just needed a fresh restart, or it could just be a simple glitch, but that is now working. Another thing is that the question response does seem slow. As you could see, I asked him a question, he thought about it, and it took a little bit to get back with me. That could just be me being like very nitpicky. When I say anything to Google or Alexa, they automatically answer me really super quick. So maybe I'm, I don't know, used to all these extravagances, and then Miko is kind of just a little bit on the slower side. Another con is there is a paywall on some of the games. Um, not all the games. There is a good bit of games that, because my daughter's 3, she's really younger for this, a little young for the robot. I think they recommend ages 5 through, whatever, or even maybe ages 8, but I think it was 5 to like 13 or something like that. And so she is a little younger. So all the games that she wants to play on here, she can without that paywall. Granted, that paywall is $99 a year. That is about, what, $8 and some on change a month, which isn't horrible. Oh, nope, that's there. $8.25 a month, which isn't horrible at all. Like, I pay worse for worse things. We went ahead and got the max just because I wanted to see, like, the difference between the free games and the non-free games. And my opinion is those non-free games are really good for older children. They feel like they have more meat to them, if that makes sense. Like, there's more educational things they can do. There's more games, stuff like that. So I think it's worth it if you have older kids, but my kid is young, so it's not really worth it right now, but I hope, like, in the next year or so. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes because I had a lot of thoughts and I did not want to skip over anything. Another thing was Miko, we did, another thing is that I did mention it, that it keeps disconnecting from the Wi-Fi, and I don't know if that's just a sensor, if my Wi-Fi is just that bad, which it shouldn't be because my phones are connecting to it just fine. So we're gonna have to like troubleshoot that more. It might be a faulty like Wi-Fi chip in it or something, so I might have to contact the developers again, that kind of thing. Another con is that you do have to provide manual commands for the most part. Like, there's like, it doesn't move on its own. Well, I did that one time, which it hasn't happened since. But it mostly just sticks to its own radius. It does have a sensor in the front, but that sensor really, I've only seen work when my daughter and Miko were having a dance party. So it seems like you have to like tell it to more, because there's a game on here that like can make shapes. It's just a lot, like it's basically a tablet that moves. Another thing is the battery life is very, very slim. I know it's a robot. I know it's taking lots of juice. I literally just took it off the charger maybe around a half an hour ago. No, about an hour ago, and it's at 88%. And that's just from being idle on my desk while I set up for filming. So That's not even playing any games or anything. We noticed it a couple nights ago when we took it off the charger. My daughter played with it for maybe an hour, and then it was already time for it to be recharged. So that's something to also think about. With all the patches and all the stuff they've added since we've opened Miko, he is already at 17% full on as far as his like SD card slot. So just keep that in mind as well. Let me check to make sure I was correct on that. Yeah, internal storage internal storage, sorry, is 17.3% full. And that's just with their updates. It was, I think, at 5% full when we first got it. Maybe it was a little bit more. I didn't really check, but I do know it's gone up. I think it was actually at 10% now. Okay, so my light bulb just burned out. So hopefully this isn't darker because I'm using a ring light. Pros. So those are my cons. That's my list of things that I did not like. So let's get to the good stuff. The pros. My daughter absolutely loves this thing. I'll insert a couple clips of her playing with it, but they've had dance parties. They play with shapes. There is something on here called, maybe it's Thrive. I don't remember exactly the game that she was playing with, but it's like a doctor kind of game where you pick who, like, if it's germs, you take it to the doctor. If it's not, you take it to the side. It's just like a little fun, like, not memory games, but like sorting games. That's what I'm looking for. That is so great for her age that, like, she just loves it. I think her favorite thing is the dance party, let's be honest, because she was really, I will insert a video. She was having a lot of fun with that. I think that also some of the things that I have griped about in the issue section and in the con section and in the misleading section are all going to be fixed with patches. They already said High-Seek is coming for sure. And some of the things that were like in the commercials that were misleading, like following your child, they said that they're going to come out with patches for, and new firmware and stuff like that to get your Miko where you thought it was going to be. It's just not there yet, so you're basically getting an early access robot. They did add games, so I looked at it 3 days ago before they had the service outage, and it had half the games it has now. Right now I think they just added 15 new games in the last 3 days, and they're planning on coming out with games monthly, so I really like that I am already seeing that kind of thing happen. I think that's also very good. And then another thing that's really, really kind of cool is if you have the Miko app on your phone, you can call your robot and talk to your kid. So, like, I'm not gonna leave my 3-year-old alone, obviously, but like, if she was over at a friend's house or over at my relatives or anything, and she had Miko, I could call her and see how she's doing. So I thought that was kind of a cool feature that they added. Now, did not ask you a question, Miko. I think that's the most annoying thing right now, but I think that's something that's going to get fixed. I hope. Now, they did do like some Christmas games. Like there's a Christmas magic game, and there's just a lot of cool little tidbits in here. It also recognizes your child. We've already done that. It recognizes faces. It'll actually ask you to pick like 5 of your child's interests, and it'll give them like random facts throughout the day about those interests, which I thought was kind of cool. Can't connect to the Wi-Fi. I think Miko knows 7 different languages. I'll have to check on that. Let me see if I can get him to answer me. Hello, Miko? How many languages do you know?
I can speak English, Arabic, Mandarin, Spanish, Italian, French, and German.
Yeah.
But I am learning even more languages.
Yeah, so he knows a bunch of languages. I think it's really cool because it can teach your kid a different language. He has coding things on here. Like, there's games for coding, which I thought was really cool. There's just a lot of, like, I kind of reminds me of how, like, Google Play and, like, Alexa and, like, Apple, they all have their own different Play Store. And this guy does, too. The only difference is that you just pay, like, one-time fee or a 3-month fee, and you get access to all of the games. So it just like learning the different games, learning what your kid likes, that kind of thing. I can see a kid getting bored of them if they don't update the games fast enough. But so far, like, my kid's 3, she's enjoying the heck out of this game or this robot so far. All right, guys, do I recommend Miko? At the price point that was not on sale, it was at $2.99, and I bought it on sale for $1.99. I have not seen it at the full price at all yet. That being said, as it is now, I would not pay the full $2.99 price for it right now. I think they probably reduced it knowing that it's not going to have some of the features they had like showcased. And that is why I say yes, I do recommend it at $1.99 right now. My kid is having a blast with it. That's what it's for. It's not autonomous, but I think that it's going to get to a point where it's close. It kind of reminds me of like Ron Gone Wrong, but not as like, like smoothed out. Yeah, baby. Do I think that it has the potential to be like what it commercializes and like a little bit autonomously more towards that direction? I do think it has a lot of potential. I would wait a couple months for some of the bugs and features to smooth out, because I think that's what we're experiencing as a bug, that it keeps saying that the internet's not working or that it keeps just randomly listening to my conversations. But I do actually really, really like Miko. My kid has a lot of fun with him. It's a lot of educational things. He interacts with her. He recognizes her. It hasn't got to the point where he can like recognize her emotions and like, understand that part, which is what part of the commercials and the showcase showed. I think it's going to get to that point. It's just not there yet. So yeah, I suggest just waiting and seeing what they actually produce for it. I think that it's a very good sign that they already released 15 new games. They've released a couple patches as far as I can tell. I think that's all really good signs, and I'm really enjoying this. Oh, before I forget, before I sign off, somebody did correct me. This is not a Chinese company, and you're absolutely right. It's from an Indian company, and it's manufactured in China. I just was thinking, oh, it came from Hong Kong. I even knew that it was an Indian company. Either way, this is kind of a cool first step towards having robots in your home. Like, you think about robots and you see them from YouTube videos and things, and you never really think like, oh, that's going to be in my home someday. But this is a pretty good, close, like, first step towards it, I think. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and press that like button. If you watch more of my videos, press the subscribe button. I make videos Monday through Thursday, and I will talk at your faces later. Bye!
Oh, he's going after your cat.
Thursday. Are you going to get me?